Today we're going to talk about function operations and function composition. We're going to first start with function operations. Operations are where we're going to be taking functions and adding them, subtracting them, multiplying, or dividing them. So my first example, it gives you the function f of x equals 10 minus 3x, and also the function g of x equals x squared plus 2. And we want to find the following. On part A, we want to do f of 3 plus g of 4. Well, let's start with f of 3. So f of 3, that means look at the f function, and wherever you see x, you're going to replace it with the number 3. So here's my f function, 10 minus 3x. Then I'm going to go through and replace the x with 3. So I got 10 minus 3 times 3. Just 10 minus 9, and I get 1. So now let's do the same thing with the g function. So here's my g function, x squared plus 2. And we're going to plug in 4 for x. So 4 squared, which is 16, plus 2, which gives me 18. And then once I figured out each answer, that's when I decide what operation am I doing with these two answers. And there is a plus sign between it. So 1 plus 18 is 19. And that is my final answer. Okay, so next one. G of negative 5 minus f of negative 2. Well, I'm going to start with my g function again, which is x squared plus 2. Plug in negative 5 for x. Negative 5 squared is positive 25, plus 2 is 27. F of negative 2, so here's my f function, 10 minus 3x. Plug in negative 2 for x, so 10 minus 3 times negative 2. So that would be 10 plus 6, which is 16. And then the operation between these two is subtraction. So 27 minus 16 is 11. Moving on to multiplication. For f, I got 10 minus 3x, plug in 2. So 10 minus 3 times 2, which is 6, and 10 minus 6 is 4. G function, x squared plus 2, so plug in negative 3. So negative 3 squared is 9. 9 plus 2 is 11. And we're going to multiply these, so 4 times 11 is 44. And the last one, g of 5. So x squared plus 2, so plug in 5. So it would be 5 squared, which is 25, plus 2, which is 27. F of 1, so 10 minus 3x, plug in 1, so 10 minus 3 times 1, which would be 10 minus 3, which is 7. And then we're going to divide these two. So my final answer would just be 27 over 7, because that does not divide out evenly, and I cannot reduce it. Now, in the next examples, okay, I'm giving you some new functions, but we're still doing operations. It's just this time we're not doing any operations with numbers. We're going to leave all the x's as x. So f of x plus g of x. Well, f of x is x minus 7. And then plus g of x. So I'm going to put all of g of x in parentheses. Now, if I distribute a plus sign, does that change anything? No, it does not. So technically, I can pretend like for addition that the parentheses do not exist. And then the last thing I have to do is just combine like terms. So 2x squared minus 12x and then minus 14. And we're done. Let's go on to subtraction. So we're going to take g of x, which is 2x squared minus 13x minus 7 minus, and then I'm going to put in parentheses everything I'm subtracting, which is x minus 7. Now, if I distribute a negative sign or subtraction sign, that does change things. So that means my x would become negative and my negative 7 would become positive. And then we just combine like terms. So 2x squared. And then we have minus 14x. And then the 7s cancel out. So we're done. Okay, multiplication. So f function is x minus 7 times g function, which is 2x squared minus 13x minus 7. And here, this is when you want a box or foil. So when I make my box, I'm going to make more of a rectangular box because it's 2 items by 3 items. So x negative 7, 2x squared, negative 13x minus 7. So if I multiply, I get 2x to the third minus 13x to the second minus 7x minus 14x to the second, positive 91x, and positive 49. So remember to combine your like terms. So I get 2x to the third. If I combine my x squareds, that will give me negative 27x to the second. Combine my x's, that will give me plus 84x. And my plain number is plus 49. Okay, last one, division. I'm going to take the f function, which is x minus 7, and I'm going to divide it by the g function, which is 2x squared minus 13x minus 7. And that's it. And we're done. Okay, then let's go into composition. Okay, composition can be written one of two ways. You can see it look like this in the form of where it says f parentheses g parentheses x. Or you can see it where it looks like f, and it's not really a letter O, but there's a little bitty circle up there that kind of looks like a degree symbol, and then g of x. So either way, however it's written, this is how you would read it. You would say f of g of x. Okay, so on example number 3, we're going to start the first couple ones with numbers, and then we'll switch to leaving x as x. So on the first one, we have f of g of 4. What you want to do is you want to start with the inside function. So my inside function is g of 4. So let's go take 4 and plug it into the g function. So here's my g function, 3x squared minus 4. So now plug 4 into that. And remember, when you're working this out, you must do squareds before you multiply. So take 4 squared, which is 16, and then take 16 times 3, which is 48, and 48 minus 4 is 44. So now you want to think of that whole g of 4 really being the answer of 44. So now it's just basically asking you find f of 44. So you're going to go to your f function, which is 2x plus 3, and you're going to plug in 44 for x. And then you're going to do 2 times 44 plus 3, which will give me the answer of 91. So remember, you start with the inside function, plug the given number into that function, and then you take that answer and you plug that answer into the outside function. So start with f of negative 3. So here's my f function. Plug in negative 3 for x. So that would be 2 times negative 3 plus 3, which will give me negative 3. So now you're going to take negative 3 and you're going to plug that into the g function. So 3x squared minus 4, and then you're going to plug in your answer, which was negative 3, in for x. Remember to square first. So negative 3 squared is positive 9. And then do 3 times 9 minus 4, which will give me the answer of 23. Okay, so now with no numbers. So we're going to say we're leaving x as x. So you're going to start with the inside function, which is f of x. And your job is to take that function and place it into the outside one. So if you remember when you were doing systems and we talked about substituting, that's essentially what we're doing. We are taking the inside function and substituting it into x in the outside function. So my outside function is 3x squared minus 4. But instead of x, we're going to replace or substitute in my inside function, which is 2x plus 3 in its place. Now remember, 2x plus 3 quantity squared, that means you have two of the same thing. So I would come over here and I would box that out. Please do not try to distribute the power. You cannot do that. So give me 4x squared, 6x, 6x, 9. So you're looking at 3 times 4x squared plus, combine like terms, 12x plus 9 minus 4. So now distribute your 3. So 12x squared plus 36x plus 27 minus 4. And to finish it up, combine your like terms. So 12x squared plus 36x plus 23. Done. All right, well, let's just keep trying this same thing. So I'm going to give you some new functions here. So remember, start with the one on the inside. So we're going to take G and plug it into F. Now you're going to notice when you're looking at the F function, the F function has 2 x's. So you're going to plug it in both spots. So we are going to think of the problem as 4 minus x quantity squared plus 4 minus x plus 2. Remember, quantity squared means two identical things, so come make your box or foil if you like that better. So that will give me 16 minus 4x minus 4x, and then positive x squared. So that will give me x squared minus 8x plus 16 plus 4 minus x plus 2. So now combine your like terms. So you get x squared minus 9x plus 22, and you are done. All right, one more. Okay, so this time we're going to take the f function and plug it into the g function. So here's my g function, and instead of x, we're going to plug in. So I get 2 parentheses square root of 7 plus x quantity squared minus 5. And here's the good news with this one. We don't have to box this one out because what happens if the square root goes over the entire thing and you square it? Well, in our previous lesson, 5-4, we learned that they cancel each other out. So you're just looking at 2 times x plus 7 minus 5. Distribute, and you get 2x plus 14 minus 5, which will give me 2x plus 9. And we are finished.